What's going on? Welcome to the Mentally Wealthy Support Network, where we take a deep dive into many topics surrounding the also important mental health. All right. If you haven't yet, please hit the subscribe button, subscribe to the channel, and check out my latest book, The Therapist for You, which breaks down a step-by-step process of how to go and find the right fit when it comes to therapy. It's available at mentally-wealthy.com. It's also at other platforms such as like Walmart.com, Amazon.com, and Barnes& Noble. So without further ado, let's dive into this clip. As this is from a show called Lapeef Let's Talk, which is something that I watch faithfully. It's one of my favorite shows on YouTube. And they was having a discussion about mental health, about therapy, and I was like, you know what? I had to do it. I had to dive into it. So without further ado, let's dive into the clip and see what he's talking about.
And wait, and wait.
He just needs a woman. He just needs a wife.
Exactly.
He
He
told
told
him
go to the doctor.
A wife to tell him go to the
doctor.
But dude don't necessarily you know what I'm saying, focus on getting a haircut every week. Okay, yeah, that's the issue. You may not be desirable, but that's not necessarily a red flag.
No.
Right? Whereas on the flip side, but on the flip side,
on the flip of the mic.
on the flip side though, if a dude on the flip side, if a dude just eat voraciously and he weigh 400 pounds, that's a whole nother health issue.
Right.
That is a red flag.
So real quick, this show is simply based around like dating, men, women issues, relationship issues, things like that. But they did dive into the topic of mental health, and we should be getting to that soon.
Putting food on the motherfucking table. We're not thinking about going to this, you know what I'm saying, going to this doctor's appointment or this, that, and third, whoop-de-whoop. Like, I wasn't a fan of going to the doctor all the time.
Helpmate.
Yeah, I got good benefits. You're right. We pay for it. You're right. Got good. To me, that's an. I agree with you.
So
Yeah, that's how we
I
are.
want to keep it focused because the next move ever, it is these therapists.
I agree with
So here you go.
Yeah, that's how we
I
are.
want to keep it focused because I love when y'all talk about this mental health shit, right? Because what you do is you encourage somebody to pay somebody to talk to somebody that don't know somebody. So if you want to talk about the biggest finesse move ever, it is these therapists.
I agree.
Hold up. Real quick, I had to do it. It's necessary. Come on, man. It's not that the therapist is the biggest finesse move. I think the most important thing is you have to find the right fit when it comes to therapy. Right? There's so many people. Therapy is almost like being in a relationship. If it's not the right fit, if it's not the right connection, and doesn't mean that everything has to align with what you want. Like, you don't want somebody who's like a yes man or a yes woman, right? You want somebody who's going to challenge you, right? Someone who's going to be able to shift your perspective, right? Change your thought process a little bit and get you to see things from a different perspective. But if you don't have the right therapist, of course you're going to feel like it's a finesse move. So if you haven't yet, yes, go get the book. But even if you don't get the book, if you are in that area where you're looking for a therapist and you don't necessarily understand the need or you're frustrated, shop around. It's so important, bro. But don't give up on therapy. I always say, like, giving up on therapy is like giving up on yourself, giving up on your kids, giving up on your future. Right? So keep trucking.
And wait.
He just needs a woman. He just needs a wife. Exactly. He told him go to the doctor. A wife.
I'm gonna let all y'all finish. Y'all all gonna finish all night.
My point, what I'm saying, it's like I agree that we all need somebody to talk to.
Right.
But at the end of the day, look, it's this new movie that's on HBO, Apple Plus, right? And I'm trying to be like real. I'm using movies.
No, don't use that.
No. Hey, but I was looking at the communication with a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
She was finessing the shit out the therapist because the therapist they can only assess what you tell them.
Bro,
And see, this is why though it is important that we start actually creating movies that depict the truth about therapy, mental health, because unfortunately sometimes like Hollywood, these movies and stuff, they just play into the stigma surrounding mental health, right? And don't actually tell the truth. Like, I mean, yeah, you can finesse the therapist, but in a sense, you're only hurting yourself, and um, you ain't really finessing the therapist. Like most therapists know when they trying to get worked over, so you just kind of hurt yourself. But that's why we got to have movies that actually feed into and tell the truth about mental health and not play to the stigma.
Cruel
But
intentions. I
that's-
could tell that Ryan
that's
Philippe
not
was
all
finessing his
therapists, though.
therapist, right? So what I'm saying is this: I agree with you. Therapy is not a long-term solution. No, should you be in a therapy session for 6-7 years?
Ooh, I'm sorry. Really speaking the truth. Listen, there's so many situations, man, where I see people get therapists and they be with therapists for like 3 years, 4 years. And I'm not talking about all we in seasons. I'm talking about literally like consecutively. Like they go into therapy once a month, twice a month for years. Same therapist. Like that. Some of them, I've seen situations where some people going out on like happy hour with their therapist and inviting them over for parties and stuff. Your therapist is not your best friend. That's not what they there for. And typically when you have these kind of relationships with your therapist, the lines get a little skewed, right? All of a sudden the sessions aren't really therapy sessions. They're more like social hour, and then at that point, yeah, you kind of doing yourself a disservice. So I love the fact that Willa said that you're not supposed to be in therapy for so long. You actually supposed to do it in seasons, right? You go to therapy for a reason, to solve a problem. You get in, you get the information you need, you get the tools you need, right? And then you get out and you go do the work, right? 80-20 rule. I believe when you talk about really taking care of your mental health, I believe the truth of the matter is 80% what you do outside of therapy and 20% what you do inside of therapy, right? Get the information, get in and get out and go use it.
Right? But there are some things that a therapist will. So let me ask the panel this. Of everybody on the panel, who's ever seen a therapist?
I have.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Was it beneficial or no?
It was.
Beneficial.
It
Right.
all,
It was good.
depends.
Absolutely.
I don't think it depends. Well, it does
Yeah,
depend.
yeah, you gotta
but
shop
you
around.
still but here's the other part of it.
Man, Lapeef be playing devil's advocate sometimes, bro. He'll say it depends. I mean, he right, but he was playing a little devil's advocate.
Benefit of it is that you begin to understand, even if that therapist wasn't beneficial to you, you start to understand what you don't need in a therapist.
Exactly.
But I would think that logic will understand due to the fact you were in the military service and due to the fact that comes with a lot of trauma, right?
Yes.
Depression, PTSD, whatever. So, and some of those people need that people to talk to.
Let me speak on that.
You might, but other men do.
Let me hold on. Let me.
Maybe because I've known men that needed that help.
But this is what I'm saying. It's only effective as you deem it to be.
Well,
Correct.
therapist
You're
is not a
right,
silver
Doug.
bullet
Which
either,
is
though.
that's
not a silver
what-
bullet.
yeah.
So like this is what I'm saying. Like most of the time we talk about relationships on this panel, right?
Sure.
Mhm.
So now, men courting in a relationship.
Hey, boo.
What?
Men courting in a relationship.
Hey, look,
All
all I
day,
can smell is a lot of Bengay.
Watch out now. Watch out now.
Bengay.
No,
Did he say Bengay? What? Oh my lord, yo! I'm sorry, Quest be a little country sometimes. Bengay? What?
chill. Hey, wait. Let's get this right.
Ow.
Men courting in a. I'm with him.
All right, nah, you good. Go ahead.
Motherfucking Lion King looking ass of fish. All right, go ahead.
My bad.
done?
Go ahead.
All right,
December, Uncle Scott.
I said this shit. No.
No, this Rocky,
this
right
is
here,
what I'm saying,
baby.
He know the way.
That's Simba.
He know the way.
See, you can't talk serious about black niggas, but
No,
you
let
talk
me-
about
Go ahead.
pussy, they
Go ahead.
don't.
We're listening.
So look, men courting in a relationship right now, right?
No, you and Caleb.
No,
No.
I like that better.
Why you say no?
no.
No, let's assume use Caleb. as an
Nigga, now you try to be the police.
Taylor got an NDA. Taylor got an NDA.
No.
Taylor got an NDA.
Hold up. I think like low key, he intentionally didn't use Kayla. Like, so if you don't watch the show, watch it. I'm telling you, it's a good show. Like, they come on like every Thursday on YouTube live, bruh. Subscribe, but before you subscribe to their channel, you gotta subscribe to mine. Like, It don't. You gotta subscribe to him. Matter of fact, me and Lapeef gotta talk this out. I'm sending people his way. We gotta work something out. But if you look at the other episodes, you will see like they did a live in person kind of like this. And after that episode, it seemed like Kayla and Mr. Logic, the guy who was just talking, the one with the beard, the longer beard, it seemed like they were a little bit more friendly. Normally they going at it, but it seemed like they was a little bit more friendly. So I mean, I ain't trying to throw nothing out there, but at the same time, my eyes can't help but see what it sees. So you know what I mean. So I think strategically he kind of stirred away from Caleb, but we gonna see how it play out. Look, she's serious too. No. Let me let this video play.
Because that's no trauma. You go see your therapist.
Go ahead. I do Kayla all over because
Right.
still my nigga though.
All day.
So that look, this is what I'm saying. Men coordinate a relationship. We have a therapist,
Yes.
right? Courtney would tell her side of the story.
Yes.
Courtney would tell the therapist what's beneficial to her. So now, if everything was open and willy-nilly, you won't need no therapist because you can handle it yourself. The thing is this is my perspective, right? And I'm just saying, the most healing I got was from somebody who knew me best.
Sure.
Because I could not shortcut them.
Talk your shit, King.
If I see her and say, you know what, she left me, and then she did this to me, and then or one of my real niggas be like,
Cheers.
well, like you was fucking cheating on her since you met her. So now don't come here whining. That therapist will come in and be like, oh well,
Let me get the money.
they gonna take what you say. So now I'm saying, like, I'm with you that it can work, but it's only as you put forward.
I
If you-
agree with that.
All right, so hold on. Let me say this, all right? Because I get what he's saying, but so here's the thing: therapists actually have training, education in mental health, right? Psychology, the study of human behavior. Most social workers, clinical social workers, psychologists, and on up tend to have some kind of educational background in psychology, right? And even counselors still are studying human behavior, right? And so when you sit down with a therapist, it's not like sitting down with necessarily your friend or some random person because of their background in human behavior. So as you're talking, right, they're seeing things that you may not necessarily see, or that random person that doesn't necessarily have the background can see, right? So it's just as if you were to go to a PCP, primary care physician, right? If you were to go to a primary care physician, a doctor, they have background in when you start talking about your physical health, right? And even mental health, they have background education in your physical health. So when you're telling them things you're experiencing, right? Because of their education, they can say, oh, that might be this, or that might be happening because they can open your eyes to perspectives and things that you may not be able to see, or someone who does not, your friend or a stranger who doesn't have that kind of background can see. Right? So I disagree with that point, right? It's not the same. Therapists don't have values. This is what they do for a living. This is their educational background. They spent time studying this. But I will say this though. It's important to have a support system, right? People outside of therapy, a therapist who you can trust, who you can lean on. And I think that's where Mr. Logic is kind of talking about. Like, sometimes you do get breakthroughs from just having that best friend that you can sit up and talk to. And as long as they're structured right, moral character, honest, trusting, right? trustworthy. As long as they're structured right, you can have the conversation. They can hold you accountable for things. They can also point out things that you may not be able to see, right? So I'm not knocking it, right? In his experience, he probably did have a conversation with some of his own boys, and they was able to hold him accountable for things and stuff like that. But it does not excuse. It doesn't mean that therapy can't be beneficial at either, right? Because there's some things, the technical things, like you heard Island Girl Q say, he's in the military. He was in the military, and there's some things, trauma, stuff like that come along with that kind of conditioning, that comes along with that kind of lifestyle that the average person may not be able to see. Someone who may not have background in human behavior studies and stuff like that may not be able to see. So I think both of them are important, but yeah, it is important to have someone in your support system who you can trust and talk to.
Wait. If you put $4 honesty, you good. But let's keep this shit funky.
Okay.
Wait.
This is what I'm saying. Black niggas can't keep it anything real.
Oh,
So then
Jesus
why are you
Christ.
saying F the therapist and then depend on your niggas when you know your niggas have incentive to tell you otherwise
And
and
they
ride
gonna
with
be
the
biased. And they
bullshit?
will be biased.
They do,
They're
bro.
Got
going
'em.
to be biased.
They
That's facts.
do.
You know why?
They do.
Because you told
Let
Kayla
him
the
answer
same
that question.
thing 2
Let
months
him
ago,
answer that.
3 months ago with her mom.
That's
They're
a
going to be
legit question.
biased.
Let him
They're
answer
going to be biased.
And I said my
I wanna
mom is
hear
not
it.
going to be biased, and now you're saying the exact
They're
same
going to
thing.
be biased.
I'm gonna give you a real example. I fucks with Anton, right?
Right.
Hush.
Anton a different breed,
No.
He is.
No, listen what I'm saying.
Okay, come on with it.
I
Are
fucks
they
with
in a
Anton,
relationship?
right?
What is going on?
But if Anton step on his dick, I'll be like, nah, Anton, I can't let you do this shit. You are a terrorist.
Okay.
I got to.
Okay.
And I come back and I
You do say harboring terrorists, right? You're right. You do
That's
say
what I'm
that.
saying.
Can I?
And I go back on Fight Club
Okay.
and I kick it with a nigga by Kyrie Irving.
Okay.
Oh
I'm
my
just-
gosh.
No, he's right. But see, what he's saying is
Honor and
it's
integrity
the
amongst
same
men.
thing. It's the
The president said, "Oh my gosh," was Kayla. I told you they got a little thing on it. We're gonna let it play out, but I think they got a little thing going. You see how she just knows how to get underneath their skin. I remember like back in grade school, they used to say the girl that hit you and bullied you means she actually like you. They you see how they going back and forth. But we're gonna let it play out. We're gonna see.
same thing whether you're having a conversation with somebody that actually know you best, that have your best interests in mind, that's going to tell you the truth, versus you going to a therapist and it only working for you according to how much you're forthcoming with the
Facts.
conversation.
The door.
Versus if you hanging with somebody and they only moving with you based off of being in an echo chamber, right?
Yes.
Now he got a point though. He got a point. Therapy, you have to have the right mindset for therapy. I always say this. Even though I believe many people can benefit from therapy, if you don't show up ready to receive and ready to do the work, you're going to have a hard time in therapy. Like you have to show up with the right mindset in the right space to be able to be honest, truthful, have the conversation, right? So I agree. Like if you over there trying to finesse your therapist, then you wasting your time, you wasting your money.
And it's the same
And
thing
most
both
people-
ways. He's saying that depending on who you surround yourself with, because people know who got their best interests at heart. Girls know who to go to in order to make them feel better,
Yeah.
versus who to go to in order to give them the truth.
Criticism, right?
Right? It's the same thing with the therapist, right? It's only gonna work as much as you're forthcoming with whatever it is that you're trying to solve for.
Right.
So either way, he's saying that it don't necessarily mean that the therapist is gonna be in your, gonna work for you, because if you don't want it to work for you in the same way that you're gonna go to that person that makes you feel good, it's not gonna work for you.
So here's the reason why therapy is so important, right? Let me just say this. One, I'm an advocate of therapy, right? Because I have been. Let me just be very clear on that shit. I've been to therapy. I think therapy is extremely fucking important.
Agreed.
Here's the reason why. Because sometimes, or a lot of times, we are not going to be as forthcoming, like Anton said,
Sure.
with our partners the way we would with somebody that's completely non-biased.
Don't know shit about you.
The nigga knows nothing about you. You're able to get off. You feel a little bit more comfortable with somebody that don't know as much about you as you would with somebody that does.
Agreed.
For example, if there was something I really wanted
That
to get the fuck
judgment
off my
factor.
chest, that I'm like, I may be a little bit more embarrassed about when it comes to my partners, but it's something I gotta get off my system. I'm gonna do it with somebody I don't know who ain't gonna fucking judge me versus somebody that I know every goddamn day who I know it's a possibility because we human. Every day that I know, they're gonna look at me and be like, this nigga tripping off a goddamn
girl. Or be
You see what I'm
biased.
saying? Or be biased or whatever, right? This is the reason why therapy is so fucking important, bro. And here's the other thing. Let's not diminish the fact that niggas, especially the fact that you sitting up here right now and even saying this shit, knowing the fucking background we come from, suggesting that niggas don't need this shit, bro. Come on, dog. I talk. Hold on. Here's the thing, Anton. Hold on, Anton. You also ain't been fucking blown up 40 fucking times.
No,
hold on, let me finish this. No. I'm not gonna let you get this mic.
argument.
Hold on, I'm not gonna let you get the mic real quick. I know, because I gotta say this because a lot of niggas that's in the military that have experienced this shit. I can't. You have not been blown up as much times as some of these fucking people. You ain't been shot at as many times as fucking people. You ain't lost the amount of niggas. Potentially, you ain't lost the amount of niggas that these people have fucking lost.
Correct.
And these niggas have problems. I've had people call me at fucking 2:00 in the morning in the bed with their fucking wives, dog. Coming, hold on, let me finish.
You speaking to a minority of the population, bro.
No.
Hold up now. See, Quest is talking about the extremes, right? Talking about stuff that's been experienced in the military, and I think in a general sense, civilians, as we're called, civilians, people not in the military, we can attest. Okay, if someone's been to war, they seen stuff like that, they need therapy, right? They need help, right? But, and this is the point Anton's about to argue. It seems like he's about to argue opposite of what I'm about to say, but the truth of the matter is that even the people who aren't experiencing necessarily those extremities in that they experience in war, like, they still need mental health. They still need therapy. They still need help because there's something called. We're gonna see how this play out, and I'll see how I see if I dive into it. We're gonna see.
But nigga who brought the fucking subject up?
Yeah, but I feel like military.
I gotta talk to the nigga who brought it up.
And there's a lot of men deleting themselves because of the military trauma.
What about the kids that grow up in Chicago and see this on the streets every day?
One mic, y'all.
One at a time.
I'm gonna just address a question.
Hold on, Quest.
I'm just the mentality that you running with, Quest. Yes, that what we was taught. But when I got blown up in Afghanistan, and they fucked my fucking hand up, and they fucked my fucking goddamn shit up right there, that every time it get hot, my shit get fucked up. I talk to a therapist, right? You know what that ratchet motherfucker gonna do? They following a fucking script of what I should say.
That's your
therapist. No.
That was yours.
Hey,
don't say that about everybody.
4 of them. 4 fucking of them.
Okay. Quest, let them get it.
So 4, right? You know what they gonna tell me? They follow a procedure. This is what I'm saying. You got blowed up, right? I can get more out of you.
Here's the thing, though. He said he went to 4 therapists. It sounds like if they following a script like that, one, you going to the wrong therapist. And it also sounds like you probably going to therapists associated with the military, possibly even a psychologist, right? One of the things when you talk about shopping around, this is something I talk about in the book, right? The Therapist for You. One of the things when you shop around for the right therapist, it's important. There's different levels. So you got counselors, you got clinical social workers, then you got psychologists, and then you have psychiatrists, right? Psychiatrists, they're the ones who really deal with medication. They're going to prescribe you medication. Then you have the psychologists, right, who they do give treatment plans. They can recommend you to a psychiatrist, but they tend to focus more on like illnesses, disorders, right, and focus solely on that. They don't necessarily focus on other social factors. Where you have the clinical social worker which is my recommendation that we all start with, to be honest. If you're going to therapy for anything, I highly recommend you start with a clinical social worker and date in that area first to find the right one, because most clinical social workers are trained to take into account more social factors, right? Social environments in relation to you, right? And how it can be contributing to what's going on with you mentally, right? Your issue. They are trained to give a treatment plan to what you're going through. They can diagnose, but they look at things. I like to say they look at things from a bird's eye view of your situation, as opposed to just focusing solely on, oh, you have PTSD, or you have um, uh, depression or anxiety, right? So I highly recommend starting off. And here's the thing: they're so social. Typically, clinical social workers are so connected with the community that they can refer you to many different resources, including, if they see fit, um, forward you to or recommend you to a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Um, and then you have counselors on the other hand, and they tend to teach you more just coping skills, right? They're not necessarily trained to treat, give you a treatment plan, but teach you coping skills to maybe cope with things. These are things a lot of times you experience in like some emotional situations where you haven't you've gone through maybe a divorce or something along those lines. Nothing necessarily um, too extreme. It's like something, a period of time that you're going through and you need to get through. Counselors is the way to go. But again, I talk about all this stuff in the book, right? The Therapist for You. Break it down into more detail. Again, if you have not got it, definitely go get it. But it's important. It's important to know these things. I think this stuff should be taught in school, right? It's important to know where to go to when you're experiencing what, because if you don't, you end up in these kind of situations where you feel like, bro, it's just a waste. It's a waste. There's no reason why they really should just been following the script, but they were associated with the military. I mean, the military just does things a little differently. Also, one more thing too, it's important too when you're going to therapy and you're searching for the right therapist to look for their specialties. And I know it's something we don't necessarily think about, but there's therapists who specialize in trauma base, right? Grief, PTSD, right? Believe it or not, there's therapists that, not all therapists, they have a general understanding of things, but not all therapists are specialists in certain areas. So honestly, he should have went to a therapist that was specializing in PTSD because he experienced some messed up stuff, right? And so, but again, he went to 4, he gave up. I believe he shouldn't have gave up on therapy. He probably should have kept going because obviously there's some things that he's still dealing with. It may not be disrupting his day to day, but obviously he's still dealing with it and just doesn't sit easy with him. But I mean, we'll see. We're gonna dive in here.
I can get more from you than I can get from somebody who never experienced what I experienced. So, like what I'm telling you, this is my whole point. I understand the idea of talking to somebody, but you know what that does? It diminishes the very thing that we so-called want to hold up, our so-called relationships. If you telling me you got to talk to a motherfucker that don't know you,
Let's see where he comes.
They got to go by every word that you say, and gotta no. Listen, put it like this.
It just don't make sense.
No, listen what I'm saying. A therapist is an in data point, right? No, listen.
I'm listening.
If you walk to a therapist, right, and you don't say shit, what can she say? Or he? What can they say?
Nothing if you don't tell them nothing.
Okay, so now the thing is what I'm saying. Just think about it for a minute, right? They teach you to talk to somebody else when the very people that know you best and live with you, that's surrounded with you, you don't talk to.
Both of y'all motherfuckers are red flags.
And hold up, sometimes, man, the people in your circle, you don't have that strong support system, and you can't talk to them about certain stuff. There's certain stuff you just can't talk to people about because they going through life just like you going through life. All right, and so what you supposed to do, because you don't have people in your circle, just sit there and just, deal with it. Nah, go get help. So I understand what he's saying, but I disagree.
Definitely.
Both of y'all.
But wait, let me say this.
Both of you motherfuckers.
Let me say this.
All y'all men on the panel is red flags.
Every single man on the panel.
Every man has a red
Every
flag.
single man
Has
on
a
the
red
panel
flag.
No, it's not. I'm not
is a
ready.
red flag.
And
I want to hear.
and
They're all
Tell me
red
why
flags.
we're red
not
flags.
only are you motherfuckers red flags, but I recognize your red flag, and that's why I apologize to your ass.
Cause he said, as I said, I seen him walk outside in flip flops. I don't want no
red
smoke.
flag. It's a purple flag.
No,
Say
but
that
why
one
are
more
we red flags?
But wait.
Because we're normal citizens of America.
No,
No, you're
What is
not.
normal?
No,
What
you're
is
not.
normal?
But wait, Quest, let me bring it home for
Being
So you
Jerome.
telling
Wait,
So you telling me you like me, the things that I experienced in Afghanistan, you telling me that I can't go and throw a fucking rock in Chicago, Atlanta, fucking Detroit,
It's not the
Houston,
No.
We
fucking
haven't
LA,
covered that
and
wait.
though.
experience somewhat some of the
Similar.
things.
No,
Wait.
no.
Let me
I will
tell you
never
this,
go
Quest.
through what you go
Let me
through.
tell you this.
No,
Let
we
me-
will
Hey,
never
wait,
go through what you go through.
wait, no, I'm telling him.
Wait.
Yeah, wait. I'm telling you, quick. Listen, nigga, I learned a lot from you. That's why I constantly talk to you about shit. You see how? Fuck it, let's talk about it.
Oh Lord.
I hope it's somebody be no
But
therapy.
like,
I hope
he's
there might be
also
no
had-
therapy
He's
session
also
now.
had therapy. So you don't think he's using
Yeah,
it?
Hey.
but that shit
Y'all motherfuckers start crying. We got to end
He
it.
just said it worked. He just said it worked.
Nigga,
I love you, nigga. I love you.
Listen. He's more sane than you are.
Definitely.
Talk about it, Anton.
He is.
Wes is more sane than you.
That's a fact.
Only because he got a wife.
Oh! Wait a minute. Wait.
No,
Say it again.
no.
Only because of what?
Because if you go back,
Wait. Only because of what?
Because he got a wife.
If you go back to when me and this nigga was single, nigga, I had groceries. This nigga did.
He
You know what I'm saying?
When y'all was
Yo,
He was saying that he
son.
at least have food in his refrigerator.
Bruh, coming from a big dude, bruh, you ain't got food in the house, you something ain't right. Go get therapy. You open up your refrigerator right now, you ain't got no food in your house. Yeah, go get therapy. Something up. I'm joking.
He had groceries when you came
No.
over. You know, a lot of fuck niggas
Look,
and fuck boys, they don't got no food in their
he
refrigerator.
need to kiss
No
the
food,
road.
not even water.
Nigga, Quest need to cut his grass. Look,
I got it.
You don't even
Now
have grass to
nigga
cut.
Now he got
You
cooked
You
meals
don't
and you
even
got
have grass to
DoorDash.
cut.
Don't cap on me,
Now he got cooked meals, you got DoorDash.
all right, now I'm keeping it funky though.
He might have been going through the
But
process,
Logic,
bro.
you don't even have grass to cut, so what does
On
it
the gas
matter?
stove.
Okay.
I was just
You
thinking
did.
that.
Yeah.
Like,
What grass?
You know how to turn on the eye.
Listen.
he know the order
Thing is-
DoorDash.
Grass?
That's all he know how to do.
Why?
I know this nigga for 15 years.
Okay.
So what I'm telling you is this nigga now married to why I saw this nigga out?
Shout out to him and wife.
Like I'm telling you,
You
this
telling
nigga-
us it's a drastic
no,
change?
No, listen what I'm saying.
It
This
is.
nigga will really have.
Yeah.
This nigga will have a pineapple from the last party we done had in the refrigerator and some chicken. So I
Pineapple
don't let
and
this
some
nigga tell him that no therapy. No, nigga.
What helped?
Wait, so are you saying that you need a wife, Logic?
Who? I'm telling this pussy ass nigga, he know what it is.
No, I'm asking you.
Why therapy?
I'm a pussy ass nigga.
Therapy wasn't a part of
He
it.
trying to give
Yeah.
credit. He trying to give
He
credit
not.
to. He trying to give credit to a
Annihilate
No. He said,
What?
Hey,
Annihilate this nigga, please.
Wes,
Somebody
Why does
call
everybody
me.
have to be cross-eyed?
Because he's
I'm not-
actually
was the white lady cross-eyed?
I don't believe therapy is as effective as everybody thinks.
Have you
It's not.
taken therapy?
However,
Have you done therapy in
Listen,
time?
let me finish.
Go ahead.
Mhm. However, if I have to use you and Quest as an example, I'm gonna say therapy works.
Wait, okay.
Quest
So
is
look.
more sane
So let
than
me
you,
let me
bro.
let me.
And I love you, Logic.
No,
wait.
You don't.
Anton, let me ask you this.
Quest is more
I
sane.
gotta
than
know.
Logic.
No, I gotta know this from Anton. I
Okay,
gotta know
go.
because Quest laid the premise of they have been blown up, and then Anton was like, okay, that's the thing you ain't second. So let me use me first. So
Hold on, we gotta set the precedence. What the hell is
So
blowing
he
up?
was saying-
What the hell is blowing up?
You talking
Well,
about
he said they had
I
been
know what
blown
I'm
up.
saying, but
Like
So
in
I got
the
you.
military.
I got you.
He said in the military.
Just for the viewers, when I say blown up, that means we've been driving down the fucking road and there's been a bomb
Right.
set to kill
Literally.
us, and we're sitting inside of a vehicle and it blows up right on us.
Right.
Now,
Daddy, I was fucked up. I was in the lab. And I grabbed the shit, and then the EOD niggas, they check it, and they say, no, nigga, my whole face on fire because of this bitch ass nigga.
So,
Bruh, you see the way he just walked off? That's why you need therapy, bruh. Ain't no way in the world, bruh. There's no way in the world you experience stuff like that and you don't need to go talk to somebody. And I ain't talking about your homie, because I'm gonna be real with you. My boy come and talk to me about some stuff like that. And shout out to my boy DeWitt. Shout out to my boy DeWitt. He is in the military doing his thing, right? He come talk to me about some stuff like that. I know how to like show up and be present and had a conversation, but I ain't gonna be able to talk to him like a therapist talk to him. There's some stuff that I'm not gonna be able to give him like that because I'm not a therapist. I'm not a therapist. So like, I've never experienced no stuff like that. Now, because of my background in psychology and mental health, then I might be able to give him some things that maybe, someone who doesn't have that background may not be able to give him. But I would still, at the end of the day, recommend he go get therapy. Because the average person don't experience that. Ain't no way in the world. And that's why my man jumped off, because he relived it in his mind. When he was talking about it, he was just like, bro, like he probably getting heated thinking about the dude that didn't check it right, and now he done blown up. I can't even imagine something like that happen. That's wild.
I'm back. You fade the black?
Logic,
just
sit
to
down.
Just to close out the
Sit down.
definition,
Come on.
Okay.
it means
You
that
can't keep getting up.
some sort of explosive device was used
Right.
in order to harm
Literally,
you or kill
right.
you, maim you,
Right.
and you survived it. So that's what I'm saying.
See
Right.
how easy articulate he is about
Right.
that?
So
Because
this is what
therapy
I'm
helped
saying.
him.
So wait. So this is what I'm saying.
Therapy did, nigga.
Wait, nigga, damn, wait. So this is what I'm saying. Okay, so literally in Chicago, and I
Yeah,
said,
what are the other topics
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
night?
no, this is it. So this is what I'm saying. In
Oh.
Chicago,
We're the
I
last
literally, and this is one of the reasons I went to therapy. I literally seen somebody get shot and killed. Roll with him to the hospital. To this day, it has never affected me. I've never felt remorse. I didn't feel grief or nothing. This nigga I grew up in the neighborhood with, went play ball with him at Palmer Park, whatever, whoopie whoop. Never bothered me, and I always wondered why that didn't bother me. So I went to therapy for that. One of the reasons I went to therapy for that. So what I wanted to ask you,
wait, you went to therapy?
Let him ask his fucking
I
question.
said-
Shut up.
okay, go ahead.
Let him
Go
ask his
ahead.
question.
No.
He
I want him
went
to get
there
this
because
out.
the nigga didn't want to play basketball with him.
Let him ask his fucking question, man.
Hold on, he brings up a good point though, because how many times, I love the fact that Rilla did that though. I love the fact that he did that, because how many times do we experience things and we don't, like, it doesn't affect us? Like I remember finding out that in college finding out that my dad had cancer. Like he told me. And I remember looking at him and just not knowing how to feel. Right? And so I knew that was not normal, right? Because your dad tell you they got cancer. Like there should be an immediate emotion. Right? But there wasn't one. It was like, I didn't know how to feel. And so I knew, okay, I need to go get therapy for this. Right? Because something's not right here. And there's so many times we go through situations like that, and I went to therapy, I got it worked out. But there's so many times we go through things like that, we're numb to it. My man just got shot in front of him, right? And he didn't feel anything. He was numb to it. Red flag. You got to go to therapy. There's so many times we experience stuff like that, and we just press forward, keep going because it didn't quote unquote affect us. But sometimes it not affecting us means it does affect us, if it makes sense. Right? So I'm glad he pointed that out. Like, just because something's not interrupting your life, just because it doesn't have you necessarily crying and boo-hooing all the time, doesn't mean that it's not something that you might need to go talk to a therapist about.
Hey, wait. Hold on.
Dog.
No, Quest. No.
One at a time, y'all. One at a time.
Wait. Hold
One
on.
at a time. One at a time. One at a time.
No. Hey, wait. Let me
I
let
rock
you
with
get
logic.
his
He
off.
wild.
So let me ask you, what did you hear? You heard somebody. You heard me
You
say.
went in therapy because the nigga didn't want to play basketball with you.
Now I told you I saw a nigga get killed
What?
and get
Just
feel
shut
remorse for a
up.
motherfucker.
You're
getting
not
shot
even
in his chest
listening
in
to
front of my
anything
face.
that's going
Hold on. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Nah, because we too fucking grown to act like this at times, bro. And I fuck with you. Nah, because niggas just had niggas just had a whole moment, and y'all let them. That's what I'm saying. Niggas just had a whole moment. Y'all let them cook over the military shit. I try and bring it back to our level.
Right.
Motherfucker sat there and told me today, I don't want to drive through Atlanta. I might get shot in Atlanta. Cool. I ain't trip on that. Now I literally said I saw a motherfucker die in my. I said I rolled to the hospital with that nigga, saw him bleed out.
Funny, bro. That's not funny.
Y'all niggas is wild, because the question that I have for you, bro, is I want to know because you've talked about being robbed at gunpoint. For me, that would have fucked me up.
Right. Yeah.
Knowing that I could have lost my life over some bullshit. So if you didn't need therapy for that, my question is, how did you work through that so we could borrow some of them tools and apply them? What I'm saying is,
are you talking to him or are you talking
no,
to me?
I was asking the question to you, Anton.
Oh, I thought.
Yo, no, that's a good question. That's a good question.
No, because he's talking about
black, Lapeef. All right, that's a good question, because sometimes, I'm gonna be real, some of us do experience stuff and we're okay. There's some of us, right? We go through some things and we have the tools to kind of work through some stuff, right? And so that's a good question. I think that people who do have those tools probably should share it more, too. I like that question. Let me see what he says.
No, he's talked about that openly about being robbed at gunpoint. And I was wondering, how did you work through that? If you're saying, hey, I didn't need a therapist, I kind of worked through that.
I don't listen, really. I've seen people die too.
Okay, fair enough.
Right? It's not a thing to me. I believe, I move in a space to where I think that most men today are weak. I think that men are supposed to suffer. Men are supposed to go through things. Like we live in a time and an era today where the world is so civilized that it's people that can get on platforms with pink hair. Real talk, they can get on platforms with pink hair, play video games all day, and then have an opinion on what it takes to be a man.
I ain't saying that.
All right, look. Let me say this, bro. Let me say this first. I rock with Anton, bro. I rock with Anton. Like I tap into his videos. He talks a lot of good information, a lot of stuff. I agree with him on. But man, he's always been real about the fact that he's just not one necessarily that agrees with therapy, right? And I disagree with it. But in this situation, let me say this. We gotta get rid of the toxic masculinity mentality. The idea that men are supposed to we're just supposed to be strong all the time to the point where we will ourselves through abnormal things. Like watching somebody get shot in front of you and killed in front of you is not normal. Right? Being robbed at gunpoint ain't normal. It's not something. And unfortunately, here's the unfortunate part. In some neighborhoods, it happens so often, it is normal. But it's not supposed to be like that. Like, we live in a civilized society. It's not supposed to be like that. And so the idea that you're just supposed to, I'm man, I'm tough, I just strong will, and if you can't strong will and you need to go get therapy, you're weak, that's, even though they cussing, I'm not going to go there. It's BS, though. It's BS. Because here's the thing about emotions, bro. Emotions are what? Energy in motion. Right? So when you experience an emotion, there has to be an outlet. The problem comes when you think you need to be strong all the time and you hold things in and suppress things in. Here's the reality. When you don't allow it to be an outlet, a lot of times the emotion is going to seep out in ways that you don't intend for it to seep out. You ever be holding something in and you just go off on somebody, you go off on your kid, you go off on your loved one about something that you be like, and at the end you like, man, I ain't even need to go all the way there. I ain't need to take it all the way there. But that's trauma showing up in a way that you didn't expect. That's your emotion flooding out of you in a way that you don't expect it to. Because why? You didn't deal with the emotion properly. If you don't, emotion is energy, right? And you know the law when it comes to energy. Energy is never lost nor destroyed, just transfer from one party to the next. So if you're not dealing with that energy in a proper way, if you're not letting it out in a proper channel, it's going to get out. It's not just going to go away. It's going to go somewhere, and sometimes it goes on you. I say this: wounds left unhealed bleed out onto the ones we care about the most. And so while you think that I'm being strong and I'm willing through this moment, no, you setting your child up. You setting your loved one up. You setting yourself up for failure. I love it. I talked to a grown man the other day, talking to him about some things that was going on that he experienced, some deaths he experienced, stuff like that. I said, hey man, how you dealing with that? He was like, I'm gonna be real with you. I cry about it. I cry. I said, oh, I love it. Because he lets it out. He don't hold it in. We have to get rid of, especially black men, we have to get rid of this narrative that black men don't cry. That black men always got to be strong about everything. There's a time and a place for stuff. Absolutely. There's a time to allow to compartmentalize your emotions and deal with things, handle business. But there's also a time where you got to let your emotions show and be vulnerable. Keyword, vulnerable. Because if you don't, you're going to hurt the same people you love and care about. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, sorry. I ain't saying a speech, but we're going to dive in over that.
I don't think, listen, it was normal for men to go to war. It was normal for men to conquer lands and to defend their neighborhoods and to, defend their village and communities and stuff like that.
That ain't mean they
like, I don't look at this as something crazy.
Normal is, I think, it's a heavy word.
No. What I'm saying is the expectation was for men at some point in their lives to have to put their life on the line, for their family, for whatever it is that they represented. My point is that for any man to ever really graduate, and this is just my personal opinion, for any man, and I don't think that he have to necessarily go through some crazy trauma, right? But for any man to really prove that he's worth his salt, he needs to be able to endure through some of the things that we go through in society as men.
Yeah, I agree. But endurance doesn't mean, just to endure through something does not mean you don't tend to it at another time. Doesn't mean, like, when you're working out in the gym, right? You got to push through your reps. You got to push through that next sprint, that next straightaway. But when you done your workout, what do you need to do? You need to heal. You need to recruit. You need to ice up your muscles, stretch things out, right? Rest your body. You need to tend to it. Tend to the same muscles, the same things that you just broke down. It's the same thing with your mind. It's the same thing with emotions. There are times where you need to press forward through things, but that doesn't mean you always need to be strong. I once heard, man, a wise man knows when to be vulnerable and when to be strong. And a man who believes he got to be strong all the time is not a man at all. He's a weak man. He's a leader that's going to lead his family and his loved ones to destruction. So, I disagree. And I could touch on what he was talking about. It was normal for men to go to war and about that time, but that's another day, another episode. We're going to rock. We're going to see what else he says. But again, by the way, normally I rock with Anton, not a bad guy. If you have not checked him out, check him out, Anton Daniels, on YouTube. Check him out. Got the Millionaire Show. Talks a lot of good information. But on this one, I disagree with you, my bro. I disagree.
This is the reason why I say that women can never be us.
I agree
because
with that.
They could never unsee and deal with things the way that we deal with them as men. So I didn't see it as something abnormal for me to not lose my mind as a result of seeing some of the things that I seen growing up in Detroit.
Right. Fact.
Hold on. So
it wasn't crazy to me.
Here's the problem.
But that's part of the problem too, Anton, because we in a civilized society. Hold on, Quest. I'm sorry, bro. Honestly, bro. We in a civilized society, bro. That's not normal for us
Thank
to see
you.
Thank
niggas
you.
get
Yeah.
To
killed
see a
in
nigga
our
whole
face.
brains
And we
blown out the back of his
wait.
head is not normal.
Man,
That's
bro.
not normal.
And wait,
It's not
Anton,
okay.
Anton, wait.
On
Honestly,
any
bro.
level. Go ahead.
And then we wonder why some of the men in our society function the way that they do. So what I'm asking you for, bro, honestly, I'm asking, listen, not just me. I'm saying give the chat, the chat ninjas, the world, the keys that you have that say, hey man, because I agree,
Listen,
men do suffer, men are made, right? Men are made.
But wait.
That's not normal for us to
That's-
see
that's-
niggas get.
Wait.
That's
I
not
wanna say
normal
this.
for me to see a
Okay.
nigga get chopped down.
But watch this.
Let him answer.
No.
Let him answer.
Wait, man. Let's chill.
Why are you
Listen
screaming?
what I'm saying. Before you ask this question, I want to just drop this on you, right? The difference between y'all and us is
Y'all was
we
conditioned for
knew we was going against
Facts.
enemies.
Me too.
No.
Yeah, we
Listen what I'm saying.
Kinda do, yeah.
Listen what I'm saying.
but still not.
We knew we was going against a enemy force, right? A lot of times what y'all go through is y'all go through that shit
the war.
where y'all dealing with other black people. So it hits different. Like when I go and I get fucked up by a Taliban nigga or Afghani nigga or ISIS nigga, I already knew they was my enemies. So when I approach shit, I approach shit to my front. What y'all do?
Let me say this, like,
Okay, go ahead.
I never expected to be 18 years old.
Facts. Facts.
Ask Rita. I say it
Facts.
all the time. I never
Facts.
expected to ever get past
Facts.
18 years old. And that's why I say every day that I'm alive is like putting points on the board.
That's big facts.
Because I never expected to be 18.
That's
I
big
expected
facts.
to be dead by the time I was 18. Just from the environment that I grew up with,
That's
and
a
just
big
from the
fact.
fact that I knew that it was a war that I had to approach and I had to deal with. And if I ever passed it, I was like a rite of passage. So I approached it in the same way. And I'm gonna say this: it's certain things that we can't say because the cameras is on.
Okay.
I can't.
But you know what though, Anton? That's not healthy though. That's not healthy to look at your life like, yo, I'm always at war. Like every single day, I'm always at war. Like I get, yeah, you have to go out and work. You gotta fend. You gotta provide. You gotta build a household, a family. But bro, just getting up every single day and feeling like, yo, I'm at war and have that mentality, that's not okay. One of the biggest indicators about people who go in the military and go overseas and go fight and come back, one of the biggest indicators that, hey, something's not right and they need to go get help, is that they have a hard time making a transition from a military mindset to a civilian mindset. And many struggle with it. There are some good points and there's some negative points about it. But having a hard time making that transition back to civilian life, back to a place of peace, a place of relaxation. If you are constantly feeling like you are in war every single day, it means that your body is constantly in your mind, is constantly in a fight or flight mode. It feels like it's always trying to survive. There's no peace. You're literally constantly putting extra pressure on your heart. You're literally like, all of a sudden you're treating things like life or death. Prime example. Will Smith, his father had that mentality. Right? I remember him said, if you haven't read the book by Will Smith, read it. Forget all this Oscar stuff. Read the book. Great book. One of the best books I ever read. Right? He said his father was like, he had the mentality of, when you do something, you either succeed or you're dead. There is no second place. You either fulfill the mission or you're dead. And he treated everything in life like that. And so what it created was this sickening work ethic when it comes to Will. Like he's one of the hardest working men. No, right? But also what it did was Will talked about the many nights he couldn't even sleep. He was a millionaire. He had so much money. He was good. But he felt like every day he was still broke and still in survival mode. Great motivational tool. But can you imagine living life like that? Where you're constantly on edge? You turn into Julius from Everybody Hates Chris. You like, boy, you better put that down. That's 0.5 cents of bread you wasted. Come on, bro. You don't have no peace. That's not the way to live life. And that says straight up, hey, Mentally, something's not right here. I need to be able to make the transition, make the adjustments to being able to live at peace. So the fact that you grew up in that kind of mind, bruh, like, Anton, rock with you. But what I'm hearing, bro, is something that's not right. And here's the thing. In his mind, he felt like it worked for him, though. Because he's successful. But I believe there's going to come a time where, and let's hop off of Anton for a minute. Because like I said, I rock with him. But I believe some people that have that mentality and they keep it and they don't know how to transition to a place of peace, there's going to come a time where the kids are going to grow up. It's going to be just you, the wife. It's going to be time to chill, relax, retire. And you're going to be like, bruh, I don't know why, but I can't turn it off. And that's when they're going to realize something wrong. But at that point, you done already bled out onto your kids, onto your relationship, and now you got to deal with damage control. I'm sorry, man. This is a speech. I don't need y'all to. I might have to start charging y'all for this. This is real good. Hold on. So that
certain stuff.
I'm with you, but see, what I'm telling you is this.
I mean, if you can read between the lines, you can read between the lines.
No, what I'm telling you is this. When we always approach shit, like,
and we can move to the next subject.
Yeah.
Amen.
When we will approach it, we knew who our defined enemy is.
Me too.
Nah, because what you do, if that, well, for most part, you keep it focused because you said black coach is trash.
Yeah.
But see, for the average person, they don't say black coach is trash.
Yeah, I agree.
So they sit here and say, the thing is, like I said, this nigga was a killer. And I was with him when this nigga was in fucking 16 MP brigade together. Like going back and forth to war. But when we go to war, we had an intel brief and we knew exactly who was our motherfucking enemy. So now, every time we go, we face our enemy.
It's on site.
See, I think y'all go through more PTSD.
I agree.
Y'all don't know who y'all enemy is. Like at the end of the day, me and Real are cool. I can die to Real.
Oh, really?
Hey, that's how shit work. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
see, at
really?
least me and this nigga know I got fucked up by
Come on.
the nigga I knew.
Come on.
You niggas die and get hurt by niggas who's supposed to be on your team. That's why I said, hey, I stay away from niggas.
Really?
Hey, I'm telling you, I'm scared of niggas. Hey, niggas is niggas.
We gotta go to the next.
All right,
subject.
final thoughts, y'all. Final thoughts. Hey, if you got.
Bruh. Like I said, bro, I rock with this, bro. Like, please, let's talk. But yo, he's speaking. Mr. Logic was spitting some facts. I agree. Like, and that's another reason why therapy is important. Take care of mental health is important, because when you get stabbed in the back by someone you trust, you don't necessarily always see things the same, right? So many people that's been in relationships, not just intimate relationships, but friendships, who they experience this kind of stuff, and all of a sudden you don't necessarily get as close to people, right? There's so many people, they just like, look, I'm tired of being hurt. And they feel like as soon as they see a relationship coming, or a potential relationship, they get nervous, they get scared. Why? Because of potentials of them being hurt. Like, understand this. The mind works on a process called association, right? So everything that you experience in real time, the only way your mind processes it is by your experiences that you've already experienced. So if you go back and you look at your experiences and it's been hurt, betrayal, extreme stuff like, maybe even DV, domestic violence, stuff like that. If your experience has been like this and you go into that relationship, you meet another person, a potential relationship, and you dealing with it, bruh, all your mind's going to do is red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. And I believe that's why we're having so many issues in the dating game, because there's so many people that's been hurt that now every time they want to get into a relationship, they just seeing red flag, red flag, red flag. Because the mind works through the process of association. And so in order to rewire your mind, you're going to need some intervention. That's where having the right support system in place comes into. That's where reading things come into place. That's where therapy comes into place. That's why the therapist for you comes into place. I had to go ahead and drop that in there. All right, last time. But seriously, if you haven't got the book, get this book, The Therapist for You, right? And if you ain't got it in therapy, get into therapy. You can get the book mentally-wealthy.com. Also available on other platforms like walmart.com, barnesandnoble.com, amazon.com, right? Get the book and get your butt into therapy. We all experience things, right? Over 85% of people here just in America experience trauma at least once in their life, right? Now, if I believe you come from this community, I believe those numbers are way higher. So if you have not gotten to therapy, if you don't have a strong support system, get you one. Because one thing I think that COVID, if it hasn't taught you anything, it should have taught you that the mind is something that's not to play with. We can't do nothing with a lost mind. All right. Love this episode. Check out Lapeef Let's Talk. Check out Anton Daniels on YouTube. And most importantly, subscribe. Before you go to their page, subscribe here at Mentally Wealthy Support Network. All right. I love that episode. That was good. All right. See you soon. Peace.